So for some context on what's happening, after raids were over on Sunday night, there was some shenanigans going on over at Shattered Springs, and somebody said something in chat, so I went over and found that there's a group that, I think they were called Ooga Booga or something like that. And they were busy fighting it out amongst themselves and a couple other people, so I parked my butt on the little plateau overlooking where everything was happening just to watch what was going on. And then from out of nowhere, right behind me, where I wasn't paying attention, this guy comes out of nowhere his name was Horny, as you can see here, and he just starts wailing on the horse and me with his katana. And obviously he stamps the horse pretty quick, so I end up dismounted. And instead of trying to fight me, he just keeps wailing on the horse trying to kill it. And obviously, if you're just going to come out of nowhere and start attacking me and trying to kill my horse or thrall, that's just kind of rude in my opinion and a little scummy. So yeah, the first thing I did was got his attention away from the horse, got some distance between me, hopped on the horse, and proceeded to run his ass down on the horse. Now, if you're going to roll up on somebody called Eomir from Lord of the Rings, who's one of the Rohirrim, who's a horse lord, you better be prepared to get your ass ridden down by that guy. And while lances might not be able to one-shot people anymore, because Funcom decided to finally fix that, they still can chunk you pretty heavily, as we can see here. So after I get dismounted here, I decided to just fight the rest of this on foot instead of trying to do the cycle charge, because he'll continue to he's starting to figure out that he can hide behind rocks, get into harder to maneuver areas, and he's starting to work out the different ways to juke the horse. And especially when you're in tight little circles, it's really hard to try hitting anybody. So yeah, it was just easier to dismount at this point and try and fight this the proper way. And yes, this is me, still trying to use a hammer, despite Funcom having nerfed them into the ground and making them pretty much useless now. It might have been a little strong before Funcom. I know you're probably not listening to this, but this was just stupid. You went way too far on nerfing these hammers. Hashtag make hammers great again. Now this is something that a lot of those within the PvP community of Conan Exiles haven't learned, and that's how to take an L with any kind of dignity. Now there's a couple of stupid mistakes here I made, and they're pretty big ones, not using my set antidotes to counteract the poison and committing way too heavily to that attack. But at the end of the day, it's pixels, and ranting and raving in chat like an angry 15-year-old who's going through puberty at a later stage than his classmates isn't going to do anything other than make you look like a complete asshole. So Monday rolled around, and I just ran around grabbing any name thralls I could find, bringing them back, throwing them on a wheel of pain to stick them in a chest in case I needed them or could trade them for something, and consecutively running Wine Cellar for Kahari Steel and to try and learn the recipes. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Conan Exiles to a huge extent, the Kahari recipes will unlock weapons and 3 different sets of armor. Now, what makes Kahari stuff special compared to normal stuff is whereas most weapons or armor will give you bonus strength weapon damage, agility weapon damage, or increase your health points or your stamina, the Kahari stuff typically gives you a bonus to 2 of those things. And what I was looking for here, while running this dungeon over and over and over again, aside from just stockpiling the Kahari steel needed to make these items with, was the Kahari Overseer armor set, because the boots give you bonus stamina and strength weapon damage, and by having it I'd be able to just make the most rounded out PvP kit I could. In between consecutively running Wine Cellar, I'd slap down Relic Hunters and give them more appropriate names befitting the Tolkienian themes I was kind of cosplaying with for this wipe. So it was as I was roaming around the Highlands, just looking at bases and scouting for things, I stumbled across this castle built by Tharian's Legion, and I don't know if I ever saw any of these guys on, but the fact that this thing even existed on a PvP server just needed to be shouted out because it was so well built, and finding a castle in Conan Exiles on a PvP server is kind of like finding a Zorse in the wild. It just isn't something that happens very often outside of roleplay servers or PvE and PvC servers, and I just had to climb all over this thing and see how they built it, and it was just really, it was so nicely done because you just don't see castles often enough. Even my own base is a box sitting on top of a finger for this wipe. So I just had to record this and essentially just show it off because castles are awesome, and the people who build them, while they might not be very defendable, you know what, they deserve some kind of recognition for making something look this nice. So for everyone watching, I present to you the castle built by Tharian's Legion. And then it was back to the wine cellar to continually farm the hell out of it for the next couple of days, just so I could get a massive stockpile of Kahari steel and try to get the one recipe I needed.
Did you see that?
Since there are relic hunter treasure seekers at the beginning of the wine cellar dungeon there, I decided to slap down a wheel of pain outside of Seppermaru City and knock a full wheel out so that I could have a stockpile to fall back on. And after that, it was back to farming wine cellar just over and over and over again. And during the week, I even built a PvP pyramid at Sinkhole, just so that I had a little hidey hole and a place to stash stuff in case I needed it.